Hello there and welcome once again to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial we're going to be looking at how I produce a watercolour caricature. Now a lot of caricatures you can get say on the market or the beachfront and what have you. They're quick black and white sketches with maybe some shading down the side, maybe even a little bit of colour on it. But I prefer to produce watercolour paintings. They last longer, they use a higher quality ink, and you can just do an awful lot more with it. So I tend to work from photographs. That's not to say I can't do the quick stuff, it's just that that's what I do. So I've already drawn the caricature, and in this tutorial we start off at the pencil stages and take it right through to the final inking. Slightly speeded up, but it's a long process, so you'll understand. So without further ado, let's go and do it, shall we? Right, here we go. So the first bit I do is the light boxing through. I've already penciled it once and got the customer's agreements on it, so there's no point going back through it over and over again. So I just literally light box it through. That way it's correct, accurate, and there's no more pencil marks everywhere. That's another thing. You just got the outline. Then I mask off the top half of the body, or wherever it goes down to the edge of the skyline, because it's just easier to go straight across the page rather than cutting around the body when doing the sky. With the sky I always work wet in wet, so I get the paper good and thoroughly soaked, and then leave just to go sort of like just a slight sheen. You don't want to have it dripping wet, just a slight sheen, so just taking off the excess water there. And then it's in with the cobalt blue or ultramarine blue, French ultramarine. It's up to you really. Just always remember that when you're doing it, it will dry lighter. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat there. So yes, and as I go down, I put more water into it so it sort of lightens as it gets closer to the skyline. Just take out a little bit of excess watercolour there. Now, a lot of people say that they do the sky with the brush. They go in there with water and they just take the brush out, and they get really upset about anyone using tissue. You know what? I couldn't give a monkeys. I use tissue, it works for me. If you don't like it, there's plenty of tutorials out there that'll show you how to lift out with a brush. It works perfectly okay for me. And once I've got it roughly in place, if I want to, I can pick up the blue and go to the bottom of the white and give it a bit of shade if I wish. But in this particular one, I didn't want it to be a cloudy day, so I just wanted just the white fluffy clouds just to indicate a nice day, nice day down at the beach. And then once it's done, I tend to go in with a drier piece of the towel and just sort of strengthen that white towards the top. And there we go. Then we come in with this is going to be the sort of beach area. Sort of obviously wet it all over. Give it the first coat. The thing about watercolours is there's usually more than one coat. So get that all done. I got it speeded up. This did take a while because I didn't actually mask out the characters. I regretted that afterwards. I wished I'd masked them out as well. It would have been so much easier just to have gone across. But you know what? We make mistakes and have to make the most of it. They just darken the. I used Indian yellow, and then I just darkened it with a bit of raw sienna, just a little bit to touch. Also, you notice I'm not trying to colour in absolutely everything for the second bit. The background scenery, I leave it the same colour because the distance is always lighter. So here I left these little areas as it indicates sunlight on the peaks and troughs within the sand. And once I got all this done, because it's still wet, once I got it all done, I then started just to, with a bit of water on the brush, just blend them in a little bit, so the edges aren't quite so hard, quite so harsh, should I say. And there we go, just finishing that little bit off there, so it's quite nice. This is in actual fact a paper anniversary commission. It's this couple's first wedding anniversary, which is the paper one, hence the little paper aeroplane up at the top there and the happy anniversary. And then I just give it a little bit of shading where the same colour comes in, just a bit darker, and as you can see there, when it's darkened off, it's got all sorts of different shades. And then we come into the... This was quite difficult because he's a plasterer by trade, so he's effectively built in or plastered the words happy anniversary. So I had to give it a little slightly different shade of pink than I would normally have done, because his head's right in the middle of it, his flesh tone, so he's got to be pink. So it's a little bit more awkward. So I had to play with the colours a little bit there. So once the colours are done, I won't show it now, but I'll go back in there with shading afterwards, so as well I'll work out where the light's coming from and then build it from there. And that's done with the magical shading colours of ultramarine blue and cadmium red. Mix them together and they always act as a shade for whatever colour you're doing. Like in all caricatures, you try and make it very personal to the people, and that was their little cat. I can't think of his name now, or hers. So then next comes in the flesh tone for the two of them. This just comes in as just a drip line. Mix the colour on the plate. I mix it with red, yellow, and then white to suit. Sorry, not white. Sorry, water to suit. And then carefully work around the lines. Make sure you don't get the eyes done or the teeth or anything else like that, because they do need to remain white. And after I'd done the flesh tone, I then got a bit more water on the brush, just water, and then went around the edges just to highlight, get a bit of sunlight coming on there, so I know where the sun's coming from. And when I put the next layer of flesh on, it's going to act stronger against that. It's going to bring it out even more. And then I did exactly the same with himself. It's terrible, I can't remember their names, but I do so many of these caricatures. It's difficult to keep them all online. So, like I say, once I've inked it, once I've coloured it, I'll then go back around with the water on the brush and do exactly the same to him as I did to her. You notice there that there was a bit of a pause, even with the speeded up version. That's because I had to remix the colour and I got it a little bit too strong. So what I do is I finish it off, and then I get some water and I go in there and I just add some water to it and it thins it down. Then it's onto their clothing. You've already noticed it in the background. I've done the sea, and the waves were created by using white designer's gouache with virtually no water at all. So as it really came on thick, and that's the best way to get that sort of white in there. Choosing the colours, unless they have specific colour fascinations or what they love, then I will put what I think is best. Here I'm having to work in quite fast now, so I'll put a little piece of cloth down there to stop me sort of getting ink all over my hands and spreading it around the painting. This here is the colour I told you about, which is the cadmium red and ultramarine blue, or cobalt blue, doesn't really matter which one. And it always takes the form of the shading of the colour beneath it. If I put that on the yellow, the purple, green, blue, orange, red, doesn't matter. It will act as a shade. It's an incredible thing. I learned that off, I can't think of his name at the moment, but I'll put a link to his channel down below. He's a watercolour artist, and he's fantastic at little tips. No, can't think of his name. Anyways, you can see the shading works quite nicely, and it also blends in. Remember that it will get lighter once it dries, so you might have to go in there afterwards, like I'm doing here, and just strengthen it again, the parts that need strengthening. And then it was onto himself again, same thing, but men for some reason more shadow, probably because there's less hair, I suppose, usually with men. I don't know. I would also have shaded his lips, and hers would have gone more of a sort of reddish colour, but I don't show every single stage in this. It's just literally to give you an idea. One of these days I will do a complete video, absolutely everything, watching me from start to finish. You won't miss a damn thing. But this is just a quick tutorial. Afterwards you'll get a chance to see the whole picture, study it again, and please don't forget to subscribe if you're not. Let people know about it, share it. Any questions, put it down in the comments box below, and I promise that I'll get back to you. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please come back for more, and I'll see you again soon. So bye for now.